A herd of elephants stopped walking. They had been moving for 2 days, across tea plantations, across dirt roads, across open fields, and they were carrying something. Not food, not a newborn calf, a dead one. For 48 hours, they refused to leave it behind. When they finally stopped, they lowered the body into a ditch, carefully. Then they covered it with soil, and they stayed. Calling, trumpeting, standing around the grave for nearly an hour. No one taught them how to do this. No religion, no funeral tradition, no cemetery. And yet what scientists witnessed looked disturbingly familiar. Because if elephants understand death even a little, then something we have long considered uniquely human may not belong only to us. Science still doesn't know the answer, but elephants keep asking the question. In 2024, researchers documented 5 separate elephant burials in northern India. 5 times, herds carried dead calves to natural depressions in the ground. 5 times, they placed the bodies inside. 5 times, they covered them. The calves were positioned in nearly the same way, as if the herd was following a procedure, a ritual. Something remembered, something repeated. And this was only the latest clue in a mystery that has been unfolding for decades. This is the elephant. The largest land animal on Earth. A creature with a brain weighing more than 5 kilograms. A memory so powerful that entire herds survive droughts because one old female remembers where water existed decades earlier. But memory may not be the most extraordinary thing about elephants. It may be grief. Because what scientists have observed around elephant deaths does not look like simple instinct. It looks personal. Elephants live in family groups led by a matriarch, usually the oldest female, the one who remembers. She remembers migration routes, dangerous places, reliable water, past droughts. She carries a map of the world inside her head. And she carries something else, the memory of individuals. When a member of the herd dies, the reaction is unlike anything observed in most other animals. The herd gathers. They approach slowly, quietly. Then they begin to touch the body. The face, the tusks, the mouth. The places most familiar in life. Researchers have watched elephants stand over a dead companion for hours, sometimes longer, ignoring food, ignoring travel, ignoring everything except the animal lying in front of them. The behavior is so consistent that scientists stopped treating it as coincidence long ago. Then came one of the most famous observations ever recorded. At Amboseli National Park in Kenya, researchers conducted a simple experiment. They placed several objects in front of an elephant family: wood, bones from other species, and ivory from a dead elephant. The elephants showed little interest in the wood, little interest in the foreign bones. But when they encountered the elephant ivory, everything changed. They touched it, smelled it, passed it between family members, investigated it for hours, as if they recognized something familiar, as if the material itself carried meaning. But the strangest story came later. For more than 50 years, researcher Cynthia Moss studied elephants in Amboseli. One matriarch she knew well was named Big Tuskless. When Big Tuskless died of natural causes, her jawbone was brought to the research camp for examination. Days later, her family passed through. The camp contained many elephant bones, dozens of them. The family walked past nearly all of them. Then they stopped. At hers. They touched the jawbone, examined it, turned it over. One elephant remained longer than the others, Big Tuskless's daughter, standing silently beside the remains of her mother. Scientists can record behavior, they can measure hormones, they can track movement. What they cannot measure is what she was thinking. And that uncertainty sits at the center of every elephant mystery. Because elephants keep doing things science cannot fully explain. Perhaps the strongest evidence comes from mothers. And some of it is difficult to watch. When a calf dies, the mother often refuses to leave. She nudges the body, attempts to lift it, waits, then tries again, as if expecting a response, as if death is not yet acceptable. In Namibia, researchers documented a mother standing over her dead calf for nearly 48 hours. The body had already begun to decompose. Still, she remained. Eventually, thirst forced her away. She went to water. Then she came back. The calf was still dead. Some mothers go even further. They carry the body, supporting it with their trunks, balancing it against their legs, walking with it for days, sometimes longer. Researchers observing these mothers reported significant weight loss, reduced activity, withdrawal from the herd, lower responsiveness to their surroundings. The closest human word researchers could find was grief, and the herd seems to respond. Other females stay close, they touch the grieving mother more often, they slow their pace, they wait for her, as though they understand she is carrying something heavier than the calf itself. Then came the discovery that captured the attention of scientists around the world. Northern India, West Bengal, a herd carrying a dead calf across agricultural land, across tea estates, across open fields, for 2 full days. Researchers followed the movement. The elephants were not wandering, they appeared to be searching, looking for somewhere specific. Eventually they found an irrigation ditch. The herd lowered the calf inside, carefully. The body was positioned with its legs upward. Then they covered it with soil. And they remained around the site, calling loudly, trumpeting into the air for nearly an hour. The scene looked remarkably similar to a vigil. A 6-ton animal had chosen a place, placed a body inside it, covered it, and stayed. No religion instructed it to do so. No written tradition existed. No one explained the meaning of burial. Yet the behavior emerged anyway. Which raises a difficult question. Why bury the dead at all? Burial serves no immediate survival function. It costs energy. It requires time. It provides no food, no shelter, no reproductive advantage that scientists can easily measure. And yet, elephants do it. Or at least, sometimes they do. The deeper researchers look, the stranger elephants become. Scientists tracking elephant families in Kenya documented herds making deliberate detours to visit locations where relatives had died years earlier. Not places with water, not places with food, places with bones. The elephants would arrive, stand quietly, touch the skull, touch the tusks, examine the remains, then continue their journey, only to return again months or years later. The question remains the same. What do they know? Do they understand that death is permanent? Do they experience loss the way humans experience loss? Or is something entirely different happening inside an elephant mind? No experiment can answer that completely, but perhaps the strangest clue comes from the bones themselves. When researchers measured stress hormones in elephants interacting with the remains of dead relatives, the levels increased. Their bodies were responding. To what exactly, no one knows, but the bones appeared to matter. The remains of a long-dead elephant still carried significance, still triggered emotion, still changed behavior. And perhaps that should not surprise us. Elephants possess one of the most complex social lives in the animal kingdom. They form friendships, cooperate, recognize dozens of individuals, communicate over long distances using low-frequency sounds that travel through the ground. Young elephants learn from older ones. Families remain connected for decades. A life built on bonds that strong may create a loss that is equally profound. Maybe grief is not uniquely human. Maybe it appears whenever memory, intelligence, and social bonds become strong enough. And if that is true, elephants may represent one of the clearest examples we have ever found. Yet there is another layer to this story. While elephants appear to remember their dead, the world is steadily losing elephants. African forest elephants are critically endangered. African savanna elephants are endangered. Asian elephants are endangered. Their range has shrunk dramatically over the past century. Roads replace migration routes. Cities replace habitat. Fences replace open land. The animal that remembers so much is being asked to survive in a world that leaves less space for memory every year. Somewhere tonight, a matriarch is leading her family across Africa or Asia. She remembers droughts. She remembers water. She remembers danger. And perhaps she remembers loss. Perhaps she remembers places where members of her family once stood. Places that still matter long after every practical reason for remembering has disappeared. Science cannot tell us exactly what elephants think about death. Perhaps it never will. But the evidence is becoming harder to ignore. An animal that carries its dead, returns to old bones, recognizes long-lost relatives, and sometimes buries its young. Whatever is happening inside the mind of an elephant, it is not simple. And if grief exists anywhere outside our species, elephants may be among the closest examples we have ever seen. We did not teach elephants to mourn. We did not give them memory. We did not teach them ritual. They had all of it long before we found words for any of those things. And they carry it forward, across forests, across savannas, across generations, in silence, in trumpet calls, and in the places they stop that seem meaningless to everyone except those who remember. Nature does not break the rules. It simply has different ones.